I don't subscribe to the hustle and grind. I don't subscribe to the team no sleep and all of that. It's really toxic. And VIP days kind of inherently on their own have built-in boundaries, which I really appreciate.
Three, two, one. Welcome to the Campfire Circle. I'm your host, Tanya Bhattacharya, and I empower purpose-driven women in building influential personal brands that drive change and raise revenue. We all talk about getting a seat at the table, but why though? Who wants to sit in a stuffy boardroom anyway? Let's reimagine the ultimate space of leadership as a campfire circle, where we share stories that inspire movements, build brave communities to huddle together with for warmth, and where there is always room. Come sit with us.
Jordan Gill is a founder of System Save Me and the Done in a Day program, which helps burnt out service providers replace their monthly retainers with a VIP day, which, by the way, is a 4-figure offering lasting 3 to 8 hours that leads your clients through a 3 to 5 phase transformation. So clear, so good, so amazing. And I went through her program last year, making me one of the hundreds of students who have gathered in community to learn how to create and sell their first VIP day. Jordan lives in Dallas, Texas with her Cavapoo Vivian and her collection of 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. Jordan, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here, Tanya. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Today, just by pure coincidence, happens to be the day that I joined Done in a Day last year. So it's my Done in a Day birthday. Can you believe it? Like, how wild is that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man. It does.
It flies, especially when you're doing VIP days. And, you know,
Yeah.
I was thinking back to that time. I was 1 quarter into launching my business. So I wasn't burnt out yet per se, but I was definitely bamboozled. Like, that's the B word that I was, because all the consultants and service providers that I knew personally all had retainer clients and services. And all of the folks that I was stalking on social media to figure out like what the heck to do, they all had group coaching programs. And none of those were really 100% fit for me. But now VIP days are my sole offering, and I am like booked and busy and no longer bamboozled thanks to you. So thank you for that.
Yes, you're so welcome. Yes, any of those bad B words, like, be gone.
Be gone. Yeah. So, you know, you are leading the VIP day revolution. And you are the thought leader on VIP days, like without a doubt, like you're it.
Yeah.
And so with authentic thought leadership, I think so often we have to grow through some kind of struggle, and we learn lessons that transform us, that as we trudge to the other side of that struggle, and as we share those lessons, we get to become the guide for others. So Jordan, will you share that story with us? Like, how did you become the queen of VIP days?
Totally. So I didn't know that I was going to be the queen of VIP days when I started doing VIP days. So I will start there. It definitely evolved. And for me, I started my business back in 2016. So about 6 years ago, come May. And it was one of those things where I just started doing what I saw everybody else doing. And it was monthly retainers, right? It's like, okay, this is how you start an online business. Some people started with courses, but really I felt like the rooms I was in, everybody was doing monthly retainers. So I was like, cool, I'll just, drive that bus too. And about 5 months in, I was like, no, I definitely experienced burnout, that B word. And it was scary because it made me question if I was even going to be able to be an entrepreneur, because I have very specific things that I have to acknowledge and honor. One of them being chronic illness. So I have to manage how many hours I work, because if I don't, then I get sick, and it's just not a good deal. And so it really made me think like, oh my gosh, like I'm not cut out for this. And so I was kind of in a weird place of exploration and figuring out what else I could do. And I actually hired a sales consultant, and she had VIP day. So I did a VIP day with her and was like, this was awesome. And how can I do this as a systems person, as an operations consultant? And she's like, oh, well, you can do it this way. And I was like, oh, like, this is dope. And how much can I charge? And she was like, you can, what do you want to charge? I was like, well, it'd be cool, joking, how about I just charge what I charge now for my monthly retainers, which was $3,500. But instead of 40 hours a month, it would be for 4 hours in a day. And she's like, yeah, great. And I'm like, no, what? I was kidding. This is a joke. April Fools. And she was like, no, you're not joking. So I started to just be like, okay, well, the worst thing somebody can say is no. And the worst thing can happen is it just doesn't work, right? There's nothing super terrible that's going to happen to me if, the pricing doesn't work out or even the offer doesn't work out. But, some other things bubble up when you think about charging that much for a day. Again, for me, I am of mixed race. I'm biracial. I'm half Black and half white, but I definitely identify as a Black woman and have experienced all sorts of racism in all forms. And VIP days were not a big thing then. And they were like really not a big thing of people of color. And so it was tough for me to think, why would I be able to succeed with that and be able to charge that much when, again, statistically speaking, people of color, women of color, do not succeed at higher rates of business as our white counterparts. So that fear started to settle in with me around, okay, like, do I really think I'm the chosen one? Like, do I think that I'm the person that's going to be able to make this happen? It kind of was an inner battle. And so I had to really think about, okay, I'm a Black woman. I also have chronic illnesses that really constrict my time that I can work. And how is this all even going to work out? Like, I really had to come to grips with, like, at least I'm going to try it. Like, let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, I can always figure out other things, right? And so for me, I gave it a shot. December 2016, sold my first VIP day. And since the beginning of 2017, I have not had a monthly retainer since. So I was all in on VIP days. And then I was like, wait, why isn't everybody else doing this? Like, looking around and wondering. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm the preacher of VIP days. So here we are 6 years later.
Here we are. Here you are. And thank you for spreading the gospel. I'm a grateful convert. And I have to bless you and give you some flowers, not just for what you just shared, but because of something you didn't share. But I want everyone to know and really be excited about with me and you, because this past year, you grew your company into a 7-figure business or $1 million plus earning company.
Yeah.
And congratulations doesn't even feel like the right word. It doesn't feel like enough because, and like you mentioned, because of systemic factors, only about 2% of women-owned businesses bring in that level of revenue. And I don't have the stat for women of color owned, but it's going to be a lot less than that, again, because of systemic oppressive factors. And so, Jordan, I'm so proud of you. Your win is a win for all of us, because we get to see you in that space and think, oh, shoot, I can do that too, right? Mm-hmm. And so your work and your presence, your thought leadership, it prepares other people with similar constraints to climb towards that mark too. So I just want to give you your flowers for that.
So sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And related to that, I loved being a student in Done in a Day because of the community, many of whom were also women of color, all of whom I think were really committed to equity, to social justice. And I remember one morning there was actually a horrific instance of police brutality and violence. And instead of having a coaching call, just like normal, you held space for us and you allowed us to just be humans together and, have a human experience. And then you rescheduled the call for the next day. So we still got what we needed from a business perspective. Right. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is, values and culture and community is never accidental. And it begins with the leader. So can you tell me about how you nurture the culture within Done in a Day to really attract in students with those same values that you have?
Yeah. Values are everything. And I think when a lot of people start out in business, it's just like, whoever can pay me is who my client is. We've all been there. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. And as you kind of grow into business, you start to understand and dial into the values that are really, really important to you. And, again, with my chronic illness, but also just in general, I am very cognizant of the energy in which I'm in, whether it's in the room or virtually. I have to keep my energy in the top of my mind pretty much all the time. And I've been in rooms where my energy is drained so fast because it's not a happy place for me. There's something that's not, misalignment in values. And when I first started the Done in a Day program, I was like, this has to be a safe place for the folks that I want to support. It has to be. And in order for that to happen, there has to be an application. And I understand that there's different pros and cons and feelings about application because it feels very exclusive. It feels very like, we don't want you in here. You have to, jump these hurdles in order to join. And that's partially on purpose because my job as a leader is to protect the community and protect my team and protect myself. And if there are people who are going to come in and not be a good community member, steal people's stuff, just be rampant and not a true community member, I don't want them in here, right?
Yeah.
It's not all gimme. I'm going to take. I want people who have a very giving spirit, have a very respectful manner about themselves, who are really smart. And that's the community that I want to have. And while, you can't always feel that out in the beginning and whatnot, it does come down to, that's a job that I hold as a CEO or a leader. And it goes that way on my team as well. If somebody is a sour grape, this is not going to work out. We have to nip it in the bud. And that can be hard, right? And some people are like, well, they're paying me money, so I don't want to get rid of them. I believe in abundance. I believe that there is absolutely more above and beyond what we even can think is possible. And so I am real quick, and it hasn't happened very often, actually, thankfully, in like 330-ish students in the past 2 years. Very, very few people that I have had to release from the program, and I don't want their money. I don't want anything to do with them because it was not a values alignment and they were doing things like taking my content and things like that. And I knew if they were doing that to me, they were going to do that to my community. And I was like, nope, we're not even going to allow this to happen. I don't want your money. I don't want any of that vibe at all. And leaders, not all leaders, but some leaders see the money over the substance and the values. And for me, I'm just not interested in that. And I think that not enough people are willing to forego the profits and the money and the fame and the whatever for really keeping an amazing community intact. But that is like a huge value for me. And every time we hire a coach, they're like, dude, your community is amazing. Like, I've never been in a coaching program where like all the students are so smart and brilliant and kind. And I'm like, yeah, like I truly love going in there and coaching. And if I didn't, I would not continue doing this program. Like it would be nipped in the bud really quickly. So it does start at the top of what does a leader value, and then the team you cultivate, and then the community that you cultivate. It has to align with your values, has to.
It has to, and it does for you. And it's so evident, and it feels so good in your community, man. When I was on my last day, when I had to leave the Facebook group, I was like, no, my people. But then when I got to come in as a guest expert, or every time I do one of your virtual summits, which are in March and September, I just love, it's like a reunion. It's like a family reunion. It feels so good. But Jordan, speaking of values alignment, this is a timely conversation because I know you have seen too, this huge rise of entrepreneurship by women in general, women of color too, as they leave their corporate job because of many things, microaggression, bias, discrimination, not being in a values aligned place. Yeah. And something I've talked a lot with my friend Jillian, Mama J Love, who of course I met through Done in a Day, the amazing Mama J, she talks about something that she calls the hamster wheel effect, where you leave a corporation or you leave your institutional job, at a nonprofit or at higher education, wherever it is. But then you hop right back into that learned conditioning or that same hamster wheel of overwork, urgency, trading time for money, and burnout, even though you're technically the boss of your own company. So can you speak to how VIP days kind of prevent that hamster wheel of burnout for service providers?
Yeah, that is a really great framing of that question, because a lot of times we don't recognize that we're recreating past experiences because they're comfortable or they're what we know. And so this is what success has looked like. So it must be that way. And again, I don't subscribe to the have to, musts mentality, meaning that, I don't subscribe to the hustle and grind. I don't subscribe to the team no sleep and all of that. It's really toxic. And VIP days kind of inherently on their own have built-in boundaries, which I really appreciate. And I know a lot of people who are tend to be people pleasers or shapeshifters. It's like, yeah, sure, I can totally move it to Monday, or yeah, sure, like we can delay it a week or two. And it's like, no. With VIP days, everybody understands when it starts and when it stops. Like the sun is up, the sun is down. Not that you're doing work that entire time, but it's very clear. And that clarity allows for both parties to feel aligned with expectations. I'm very big on power dynamics and understanding that for me, I want everything to be a win-win. Like I still learn a lot of things from the students and clients inside of Done in a Day, because you guys are all out there trying different things to sell your VIP days, to market VIP days and whatever else. And I'm learning, I'm growing, and we're bringing in experts and all of that stuff. And so it's, yeah, cool. Like I'm the head coach, but also like we're all in here together and everyone is smart and everyone can bring value. And I found that with longer term offers, besides mine, but generally in longer term offers, there's this power dynamic of like, I am the client and like you are the service provider and you're going to do things for me and you're at my beck and call and your schedule doesn't matter. And it just was gross to me. And with VIP days, I found that it's like two experts can work together, generally speaking. And even if you do, I guess, B2C of, helping moms with, getting their babies to sleep or health coaching or whatever, the power dynamics are win-win and not, high-low. And I found that also brings about a different type of clientele that all of that other stuff doesn't come with most of the time, where people are like, great, like we get to come together for a day and collaborate, or you're doing something for me and I'm going to honor the fact that it's going to be done in a day. And I want you to be set up for success. I heard that a lot from my VIP day clients. And that was not necessarily how it was with my monthly retainers. They were lovely and whatnot, but it didn't feel that way. It felt like you're like delaying me, you're dragging me down. But then all of a sudden you're like, why isn't this done? I'm like, remember I asked you 3 times for this, That's not how it feels with VIP days. It's like, how can I set you up for success? Do you need anything else from me? Like, how can I support you to show up in your excellence? And I was like, great, like, this is what I need, instead of it being a weird power dynamic thing.
You naming that is so, I hadn't really realized that before, I don't think, but before I started my business, I was in nonprofit fundraising. And so you can imagine what the power dynamics were in that space, not ever intentionally by the donor. I don't want to say ever, but there's a certain flavor of imposter syndrome and people pleasing that shows up when you're a nonprofit fundraiser.
Oh, yes.
Just because, you're out there asking for money. And so I love this concept you're speaking to of shifting the power dynamics. So it's very much a win-win. It's very much equal. And I also love the concept of built-in boundaries or guardrails, because it brings up that overall piece around mindset. Because honestly, Jordan, it surprised me at first that the Done in a Day program was a 6-month container. I was like, why can't I just do a VIP day on VIP days?
I know.
But that wouldn't have worked, because one day, 1 month in, once I had built out my offer, I was starting to debut it and put it out into the world. all the mindset stuff started coming up around pricing, like you had mentioned earlier. And the bigger thing even was whether or not I was enough of an expert to bring folks through this deep transformation in one day. You know, all that itty bitty shitty committee chatter started going off. And so, you know, what would you say to somebody who's kind of really struggling with owning their expertise and unsure that they can really deliver on a VIP day?
Well, I think, you know, to bring simplicity to it, the only difference between a VIP day and your longer term offers is a time constraint. Like you've already done this before. You've proven that. It's just changing the time. That's all we're really doing. And so, yes, that means that you need to create some more assets and really think about the result you're bringing in. However, you know, it's not like a lot of times we're completely transforming your offer and you've never done it before. It really is just speeding up the offer. And so don't let the overcomplication of, oh my gosh, like I have to stuff all of this stuff into my VIP day that I was doing in 3 months or a couple weeks or et cetera. It really comes down to, and I use this analogy a lot, of kind of this all you can eat buffet version where you're like, I have to eat as much as possible to get the value. And that's like literally how you get the value, even though then the value you're like literally in the bathroom for like hours afterwards. I'm like,
it's not a good look. Yeah.
Right. What point is this? Or you can have a prefix menu. And while again, the portions are smaller, there's intentionality in there and you leave satiated. You leave feeling really good and being like, oh my gosh, like, didn't you just love that like port wine reduction on the steak? And you can point out the different things that you really loved about that experience. And you can't really with the all you can eat buffet. And so when it comes to expertise, it's not about showering and like shoving all of your expertise into the VIP day in order to justify the price or justify how smart you are. It truly shows how smart you are when you can reduce all of the friction and noise and create a concrete plan and path for your clients. That shows your expertise, not stuffing in things. The intentional plan or path or framework, that's how you show you're an expert. In my personal opinion, and a lot of people's opinions.
No, you're 100% right. Because I think a big tenet to thought leadership, which is something I obviously think about a lot, one of the tenets is actually having a framework. It's like codifying your expertise and putting it into a framework that you can now teach to other people. Because essentially, anything you might want to learn is on Google. You can learn anything you want. What people need and want and are willing to pay for is that distilling of that expertise into an easy to understand process that you can bring people through. So 100%. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still thinking about what we talked about earlier and how we kind of pivoted from, you know, retainers and different things like that to VIP days because it really fits our preferences. You mentioned, you know, you have a chronic illness that allows you to work for like bursts of time. And, you know, I have a preference to work in that way too. You know, I talk about this often. I go to this gym and some months they have like endurance training. It's endurance all month. And I'm just like, please, like, stop, like, get me out of here. Where's the door? Sometimes I just sneak out, like, honestly. And then other months, like the other month is strength month. And that's where you work in bursts, right? You run as fast as you can and then you rest as long as you want. And that's my preference, right? And
yeah,
I used to work, this is going to sound like it's all over the place, but I promise I'm getting to a point. So I worked in mental health care for a long time. And when we were creating treatment plans for our patients, we used something called a SNAP assessment. And so SNAP stands for strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences. And so clinicians would incorporate those things from the patient to create a plan forward with those identified constraints and things in mind. And so launching a business is not the same as mental health treatment, but it is a transformative personal development process, like no question, whether we realize that when we're getting ready to make the jump. So of course, we have to incorporate our strengths, our needs, our abilities, our preferences into the offerings that are most attuned for us, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's not just how our offering is, it's also the way we market our offering, right? I'm an INFJ. So one of my preferences is to really build just a few relationships that are deeply transformative instead of trying to build all the relationships.
Yeah.
And so I love your marketing philosophy on referral partnerships because, I don't have to be doing, I can if I want to, right? But I don't have to be doing lives and trying to collect the biggest audience possible. I just need to build deep relationships with referral partners to sell out my VIP days. So long ramble over. Can you tell me about how you build referral partner programs and why they've been such an instrumental part in your business?
Totally. Yeah. So I'm a ENTJ. I feel like I'm on the brink of INE a little bit. I need like equal amounts of people and equal amounts of no people is what I found. And so with that being said, I'm not a big go live person either. I'm not I don't know. It's just very exhausting and it feels like a lot. And so when I was doing my VIP days, I quickly realized, okay, I need to work smarter, not harder, because I want my marketing to be extremely intentional. And I don't want to feel like I'm having to just create all the time. And I'm naturally pretty good at relationship building. So I wanted to crack the code on referral partnerships because a lot of people, in my personal opinion, do them wrong. And that's because it's a very I need clients. Do you have any clients for me? Give me clients. Send me the clients. And it's like, okay, bro, we're all in business. We all need clients. We get it. Right. And I was just like, I do not want to be that person. So I had to really think intentionally about, okay, I do systems work. That is my zone of genius. Where do they go before me in their client journey that I need to then reach out to those people and say, hey, how can I be the next step after you? So, and really, it's oh gosh, I don't remember the psychology strategy, but it's essentially where married people actually do this, or even people in a relationship, where it's attach your husband or partner taking out the trash to your Sunday night, binge watching of whatever, 60 minutes. And so every time 60 minutes come on, your husband or partner remembers to take out the trash, and you pair it with that so that every time it's just a habit, right? I don't remember
Yes. They talked about that in Atomic Habits. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So very similar to that, I attach myself to the ending result of people who come before me in the client journey. So for me, people who come before me are generally website designers, business coaches, some marketing coaches. And why that is, I'll use website designers as an example, is people have these gorgeous websites built. It's bringing in leads, and then the business owner has trash systems and they drop the ball, but they think it's the website's fault because they're like, I'm not getting sales. And the website people, designers no, I'm getting you leads. You just are not nurturing them. You don't have a system to schedule a call and do all that stuff. And so when I speak to website designers, I'm like, hey, here's how we can, I don't say it like this, but here's how we can make you look good is I have a VIP day that you can send your clients to. It's awesome because it's literally one day. So once you complete the website, I can turn it around real fast to build out their client relationship management system. So there's a clear onboarding management and offboarding. And that way, when you bring them leads, the leads actually have somewhere to go and be nurtured and again, go toward the sale. And website designers are fantastic because I don't want to think about that. I don't want to do it for them. I don't want to touch any of that stuff. And so they gladly send people to me because I make them look good. And I don't need the fame and the glory and the lights. I'm just whatever, just let me build a system in my happy place. So, they get all the fame and glory because they're yay, leads and my website and it's great and it's awesome. And that's how you build the referral partner relationship is you not only think about the benefits that you give to your clients, you also look at the benefits that you give the referral partner. And that's going to bring you way more clients than, hey, do you have clients this month? Hey, anybody need this? Hey, send me, give me, la, 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 la. That stuff is annoying. In this way, it's automatic. I've paired myself with the end result of them and it makes them look better. So it's kind of a twofold thing. But that's really how I think about referral partnerships. There's always somebody before you, generally speaking. And so you just have to find that person and whatnot, and then connect and build a relationship.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And they can't wait to hear from you. So you're treating your referrants almost as clients, you know, and thinking about how you can deliver the best result for them too. That's so good. I want everyone listening to think about who comes before you in the journey and who comes after you. Wow.
Yep.
That's so good. For me, who comes before me tends to be like executive coaches, sales coaches, you know, things like that. And who comes after me are like personal branding photographers. I send so much business out to personal branding photographers. So yeah, this is very, very good to think about. And it's just so good being in this community of other like-minded people, like having VIP days, doing the good stuff. You know, this podcast, we were talking about this earlier. This podcast is a done in a day baby because, because I got to work with Rosa, who I met through the program when we launched it with a VIP day, and we're still going. And she definitely makes me look good. So thank you, Rosa. So, you know, there's a lot of like systems VIP days and copywriting VIP days. And that's great. I think there needs to be even more of them because each of them handles in a different way. But I want to know, what are some of the most unique VIP days that you have ever seen?
Oh, yes. These are always fun for me to talk about because they're very challenging and stimulating for me. So one, she wasn't in the program, but I think I was DMing with her a couple virtual conferences back. And she was talking about how she wants to, her skill and her experience is producing a song that helps folks who suffer from PTSD with their healing. And I was like, okay, let me sit down for this one and like process that for a second. And she's like, can this be a VIP day? So I was like, okay, let me go into my lab in my cave. And then I reached out to a few friends of mine, one specifically who's way more woo than I am. The most woo I am is like the candle in the back. Like I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I went to my woo friends, one in particular, and was just like, okay, this is what she wants to do. How can this happen, essentially? Or can this happen? And she was like, oh my gosh, like, I want the referral. This sounds amazing. Like, I am down for it. Like, send me her information right now. And so I was like, well, here you go. Like, here's a referral partner. I think it can be done. And so that's what she does. And she does it all in a day. She does a bookend, which is, I know, lingo, but it essentially means she has a call at the beginning of the day with the person sharing about their experience. Then they separate for a couple hours. She actually produces the music, the guitar, the piano, all the things, certain tones. So she has kind of a prescriptive VIP day where she knows the tones for different types of healing. And so when she's hearing their story, she's like, okay, it's these tones and these melodies and these yada yadas. And she puts it all together. And then at the end of the day, they get back on a call and she shares the song with them. And it's something that they get to listen to for their healing process. And I'm just like, whoa, like, that's amazing. Like, imagine the impact. It's
oh my goodness. Well, you know, this is like right up my alley. Like, I'm obsessed with that. I want to do that VIP day. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And it just,
really cool.
It just goes to show, like, there's a VIP day that's possible for anyone. Like, there's a VIP day inside of you. You've got some deep, incredible expertise that is just waiting to be shared, right? And it's just about sharing the story of your expertise and the value, the transformation you provide.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Hey, if anything you're hearing today inspires you to get more visible as a go-to trusted voice for your audience and drive change towards your deeper mission, I've got something for you. LinkedIn is my favorite place to share my stories and build relationships with my co-conspirators and brand new friends. So I put together a free resource with 14 prompts to create your next post on LinkedIn. Take all the guesswork out of what to say and just start building your impact and influence. Be sure to tag me in your post so I can come by, cheer you on, and amplify your message. You can find those free prompts in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode.
So I'd love to know, like, what is next for you? What are you excited about for 2022 and beyond?
Totally. So I hunkered down for a while and really am perfecting and creating Done in a Day to be what it is today. And not that it's perfect, but it's pretty dang like close to what I had imagined on day one with my Google Docs and live trainings from my OGs. And so now we're at a place where we have 5 coaches who are amazing and have different expertise. One was a past therapist. One is a total like sales marketing ninja. One has a curriculum background. So she's great at helping with the frameworks. We just have one who's like a true coach, and it's awesome. And so at this point, I'm getting some reprieve and able to get back into my creative juices and think, okay, what else can we do? And right now we're working on a few different things. One, we are figuring out like a graduate membership type offer. Finally, I know everyone's been asking for it for a while. I'm very intentional. And again, I wanted to ensure that Done in a Day was in a really great place before we extended into additional offers. And so I'm really excited about that because I'm just like, there's so much continued juice. And I kept getting the feedback of like, what other community am I going to go to where there's a woman of color, there's all this diversity, everyone's so kind and smart and amazing. And I'm just like, well, that's true. I don't know where you're going to go. So I guess it's me. So, I'm really excited to create that really intentional container. And the team and I are brainstorming and getting noodle juices flowing around that. And then we also want to figure out more in-person opportunities as well. I love to connect with people. I love being in fellowship and community. And so how can we figure out ways for, again, our graduates to connect in person, but also create really intentional pockets of time to, again, grow as women of color, people of color in business. And so that is another highlighted area for this year that we're specifically looking into. As the world is slowly opening up and all that stuff, it feels more safe and available to us. So those are kind of 2 avenues that we're diving into specifically this quarter.
This quarter. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. Well, when it's time to plan something in Southern California, put me on the planning committee. I'm down.
Right. Perfect. We'll definitely be doing something. There's a lot of you over there. There's a lot of you.
Yeah.
So in California in general, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I can't wait to spend time with you in person. And I have really missed getting to spend time in your orbit. And so this has been so lovely. And, I asked this last question of everyone. I think a really helpful part of becoming that thought leader, that go-to trusted expert in your space is getting really clear on your vision for the world that you're creating, right? Mm-hmm. So what is your big, amazing, imaginative vision for the world that you're working towards?
Yeah. So this is definitely something that hits very, very close to home. I am a big proponent of being present. Mm-hmm. So I think that the world that we live in now lacks so much presence. It makes me sick to think about, of just the distractions and noise. And whenever I am like, I'm here in this podcast interview, I don't know what's going on in Slack. I don't know what's going on my phone. I don't know what's happening, but it's fine. And I'll get to it afterwards. Like, I'm present here with you, Tanya. And I want us to experience presence together. Same thing with my coaching calls in the program, same thing with my team meetings, same thing with time with my husband, my bonus son, or whoever it is. Mm-hmm. And so everything I create is going to ultimately come down to bringing more presence into people's lives. So VIP Days is a vehicle for that, obviously, and whatnot, and whatever else we create will continue to be around that. But even extending into additional things, I am building a software company as well. And that's very much aligned with my value of presence and whatnot, because I think that we need to slow down for a second and remember what's most important and who's most important. And I am a quality time love language person, so I do recognize that I'm a little biased. However, everything that I do is centered around presence and will be in this company and any other companies I build. That is going to be like the sole guiding light. If it does not create more presence in people's lives, then I'm not a part of it.
Oh, Jordan, I am obsessed. I love that so much. And I can see how that vision has bled into the implementation of VIP Days because, like I mentioned, I was in mental health work, and then I did like nonprofit fundraising. And so when I started my business and I started doing VIP Days, I would be like looking at my phone, like, where are all my emails? Like, there's nothing to do today. Like, I don't have, there's just white space on my calendar, and it was uncomfortable. It was actually really uncomfortable. I was like, well, now what do I do? But it gave me that gift of realizing, oh, now I get to be present. And there's been a shift. Like, I've had to shift around that because I was so used to just doing. But now there's entire days where if I can just, like, I can just go to the beach and just sit. Because I know I have my one VIP day for that week and it's on a Wednesday. So Thursday, I'm just going to go eat pizza and like take a nap.
And it's totally great. And it's fine. And the world keeps spinning. It's not, I think that there's this, I call it kind of white space wonder of like, okay, now I have this white space and I'm wondering what the heck I should do with it next. And it's like, no. Like this whole churning of like time is money. And so therefore, if I'm not spending time doing something that's related to money, then I'm wasting time and I'm wasting the opportunity to make money. And it's like, there has to be this balance of understanding what is enough in every point in your life. And if you are constantly seeking more and more and more, that is when presence dies. That's when you are not, really actually working in your most excellent, I guess, levels. But I get it. I was the same way. And even as somebody who has to monitor her energy, I'm an efficiency, I don't even know, nerd, I guess. And so I'm always looking at how can we work smarter and harder and like start chipping away at the time that we're spending on things. And it drives my husband crazy sometimes. Yesterday I did get a compliment because he went through TSA pre-check and clear, thanks to, yours truly. So he got to skip the line and make his flight because he was late. So, it can eat away at you. And sometimes I have to sit back and be like, it's okay if I wait in this line. Like, it's okay if I am wandering around aimlessly walking and I have no purpose of walking. Yeah. I just am walking to get fresh air just because. And so it does kind of take some time to reorient yourself around that.
It really does, but it's working. It's working. So I love that vision. How can people get in touch with you, get in your orbit, learn more about Done in a Day and all the good things you're up to?
Yes. So I shoot people on over to my website because there's resources galore. And we're coming out with articles and all sorts of things. We have a quiz, you name it. And that's just systems, plural, saved me. Not just one system can save you. And Instagram is also systems saved me. And I love to DM. I love to message. I share really random stuff. My reels are ridiculous, but they're educational nonetheless. So you can hop over to Instagram and again, dive deep into the VIP Day vortex or just come chat with me too. I'm cool with that too.
So good. Well, we'll put all of that in the show notes and really, thank you for all that you are, for being a young melanated millionaire who is rich both in profit and in presence, and who is inspiring other people to step into their expertise and just do the dang thing, right? I love how you fly the VIP Day flag. It's changed my life and I am a convert forever. So thank you for being you and thank you for being on the Campfire Circle show.
Thank you so much, Tanya. This was a wonderful conversation.
I agree.
What'd you think? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or even better, reach out and let me know through lumosmarketing.co. Yes, that's Lumos, as in the illumination spell from Harry Potter. Because when you shine, magical things happen. You can get social with me on LinkedIn, and of course, check out the show notes to stay in touch with our guests. Let's talk soon.